From what we know of history, most of it was not particularly good or great. But even so, the job of an archaeologist is to uncover the past, both mentally and with their own hands, no matter how unsettling, unusual, or horrifying it may be. What you're about to see in this video puts that responsibility into perspective, revealing just how terrifying some archaeological discoveries can be. Number 15. Child sacrifice in Carthage. Well, ancient Carthage earned a reputation so brutal and so bad that even later civilizations struggled to accept it. Roman historian Diodorus described a bronze statue of Cronus with outstretched hands, palms tilted downward. Infants placed upon them would slide directly into a fire-filled pit below. According to his account, wealthy families sometimes purchased children from the poor, raising them solely for ritual sacrifice. For centuries, scholars dismissed these stories as Roman propaganda, too horrific to be true. That skepticism collapsed once archaeologists uncovered tophets, cemeteries filled with urns containing cremated infant bones. Each urn sat beneath a stone inscribed with prayers thanking the gods. Some argued these were stillborn kids given ceremonial burials. Oxford experts disagreed. The inscriptions begged divine favor. Animal remains, clearly sacrificed, were buried identically. Most damning, the number of remains fell far short of expected infant mortality rates for a city of that size. The study concluded that the evidence was overwhelming. So, Carthage's rituals weren't myth. Number 14. The Salango skull helmets. Well, this is one of the most unsettling discoveries on this list, and it emerged just recently at Salango, along Ecuador's central coast. While excavating a site linked to the ancient Guangala culture, archaeologists uncovered 11 burials dated to around 100 BC. 2 belonged to infants, one roughly 18 months old, the other under a year. What disturbed researchers wasn't their age, but what they wore. Each infant's skull had been fitted inside a larger skull belonging to an older child, forming a macabre kind of head covering. Burial customs vary widely, especially across ancient cultures, yet scholars confirmed this as the first known example of children's skulls used as mortuary headgear. More unsettling still, evidence suggests the larger skulls were still covered in skin and tissue when placed, otherwise they would have collapsed. Once the shock faded, one question lingered: why? Another infant burials were found nearby, yet none shared this treatment. Was it a ritual protection, status symbol, or spiritual belief? No explanation fits cleanly. The graves remain intact, disturbing, and stubbornly silent. Number 13. The Vampire Child of Lugnano. Several summers ago, American and Italian archaeologists excavated a cemetery in Umbria known as La Necropoli dei Bambini, or in English, the Cemetery of the Babies. The site alone carried an unsettling weight, but one burial stood apart. Inside the grave lay the skeleton of a child with a stone jammed tightly into its mouth, an unmistakable example of a so-called vampire burial. The child, roughly 10 years old and of indeterminate sex, died around 15 centuries ago. It was laid on its side with a limestone rock, egg-sized and crudely wedged between its jaws, and traces of cement still clung to the stone, bearing faint impressions of teeth. Archaeologists believe the ritual was meant to prevent the dead child from rising and spreading malaria, a disease once blamed on restless spirits. Fear shaped the burial as much as belief. Locals eventually gave the child a name that lingers uneasily: the Vampire of Lugnano. Number 12. Daggers made from humans. For generations, warriors in New Guinea carried bone daggers into close combat. Most were crafted from cassowary leg bones, prized for their durability. But others were far rarer and far more disturbing. These blades were carved from human bones, usually taken from respected men of high status, often a warrior's own father. The bones were believed to be willingly given, transforming the weapon into both heirloom and symbol. Human bone daggers were more ornate, worn prominently on the biceps rather than concealed. Their importance leaned ceremonial, but anthropologists wanted to test their function. 11 daggers were examined, 6 cassowary, 5 human. The results surprised researchers. Human bone blades retained their natural curvature better and demonstrated superior strength under pressure. These weren't symbolic trinkets. They were effective tools, sharpened by reverence and biology alike. In combat, carrying a blade made from an ancestor wasn't just intimidating or scary. It was believed to channel strength, memory, and lineage through every strike. Will you carry one? Number 11. The Great Flood of China. For centuries, China's Great Flood existed only in ancient tales. Oral traditions spoke of endless deluges. I halted only when a hero named Yu the Great tamed the waters and founded the Xia dynasty. Historians long dismissed the tale as myth, nothing more. But then evidence surfaced. Archaeologists studying crushed skeletal remains, many belonging to children, found signs of a catastrophic flood dating back roughly 4,000 years. Research in modern Qinghai province revealed remnants of a massive landslide that once dammed the Yellow River. Over months, water accumulated behind the blockage, forming an enormous lake. When the natural dam finally collapsed, the release unleashed a torrent that surged more than 1,200 miles downstream. The devastation was absolute. 14 skeletons were discovered, most of them young, killed by crushing waters. Radiocarbon dating placed their deaths around 1920 BCE, aligning eerily with the legendary timeline. While not definitive, the findings transformed folklore into something uncomfortably real. But it happened only once. Can it happen again? Number 10. The Porpus Grave. In 2017, archaeologists began excavating the small island of Sutton Hoo, just off Guernsey's coast, expecting medieval church remains. Instead, they uncovered something stranger, a porpoise buried carefully in its own grave. The animal had been placed there nearly 600 years earlier, and the reasoning remains deeply unclear. At the time, only monks inhabited the island. That led some researchers to suspect a religious ritual, though nothing similar exists in Christian tradition. Others pointed out that monks regularly ate porpoise meat, suggesting discarded remains. That explanation, however, creates another puzzle. Why bury it at all when the sea sat only steps away? If disposal were common practice, more graves should have existed. Eventually, scholars proposed a practical theory. The porpoise may have been butchered and buried intentionally for preservation, possibly stored underground to be eaten later. Somehow, it was forgotten. Even the experts admit the idea may never be proven. Too little remains of the island, leaving the grave suspended between logic and lingering uncertainty. Number 9. Dragon Skull. Well now, this one is a bit more perplexing. When a massive bleached skull appeared along the shoreline of Dorset, it stopped people cold. Horns, jagged jaws, spined ridges. Every feature matched the dragons of legend. The discovery later proved to be a staged promotion, quickly dismissed as a hoax. But the unease didn't end there. Years later, and in northern China, villagers uncovered something far harder to explain. A skeleton stretching nearly 60 feet, with a colossal skull and a body unlike any documented species. There were no wings or feathers. To the local people, there was no confusion. This was a real dragon. The form mirrored creatures embedded in Chinese mythology more closely than any fossil record. Authorities offered no clear explanation. Scientists remained silent. Whether it was misidentified remains, a natural anomaly, or something withheld from public view, The absence of answers only deepened belief. Some discoveries don't demand proof. They awaken stories that never truly faded. Number 8. The Battle of Tollense Valley. In 1996, a single arm bone emerged from the soil of northeastern Germany's Tollense Valley. It was embedded in it was a stone arrowhead. That accidental discovery opened a door to something far larger. Radiocarbon dating placed the remains in the 13th century BCE during the early Bronze Age. Further excavation revealed shattered skulls, broken weapons, and bones bearing trauma from clubs and blades. One thigh bone showed injuries consistent with falling from a horse. Systematic digs began in 2008 and continue today. Archaeologists have recovered more than 13,000 bone fragments, most belonging to young men. The scale stunned historians. Hundreds died in a single conflict, possibly involving thousands of fighters. Until then, such organized warfare was thought impossible in that region and era. Tollense Valley forced scholars to rewrite Bronze Age history, revealing societies capable of large-scale violence, coordination, and sustained combat far earlier than anyone expected. Number 7. What sunk the H.L. Hunley? The H.L. Hunley holds a grim distinction in naval history. On February 17, 1864, it became the first submarine to sink an enemy warship, attacking the USS Housatonic near Charleston, South Carolina. The victory came at a terrible cost. 5 Union sailors died, along with all 8 men aboard the Hunley. In total, 21 lives were claimed across its short service. The submarine sank 3 separate times, each disaster killing its crew. After the final attack, the Hunley vanished during its return, remaining lost for 130 years. When recovered in 2000, archaeologists made a chilling discovery. Every skeleton remained seated at its station. No emergency escape attempt had been made. The prevailing theory points to the Hunley's own spar torpedo. Experiments suggest the blast shock wave was powerful enough to instantly incapacitate the crew, killing them without warning. Victory, sealed in silence, became their tomb. Number 6. Tomb of the God King. Hidden beneath centuries of roots and compacted earth, the tomb near El Peru, Waka, was never meant to be ordinary. When archaeologists finally breached its seal, what they uncovered suggested far more than a royal burial. Inside lay the remains of a ruler believed to be King Chanak of the W dynasty, surrounded by offerings steeped in cosmic symbolism. Jade ornaments etched with celestial imagery, ceremonial blades, and a burial layout reserved for beings considered divine, all pointed toward one truth. This man was worshipped as more than human. Among the Maya, rulers were believed to channel sacred forces, and acting as living connections between gods and people. Death didn't end that role, it amplified it. Dating back over 1,600 years, this tomb stands as the oldest royal burial discovered in the region. Its silence speaks of a civilization where power came not from conquest alone, but from bloodlines believed to carry the voice of the gods themselves. All right, now, let's head over to number 5, the Bromswell Bucket at Sutton Hoo. For decades, the Bromswell Bucket puzzled historians studying the Sutton Hoo region in Suffolk. The 6th century vessel seemed out of place among Anglo-Saxon burials. In 2025, that mystery was finally cracked. Chemical testing and microscopic analysis revealed the bucket had been repurposed as a cremation urn. Inside were traces of a funeral pyre and cremated horse remains, unmistakable markers of a high-status ritual. This detail shifted everything. The bucket was no souvenir or luxury display piece. It played an active role in burial rites. Its use reflects an unexpected blending of cultures, where imported Mediterranean prestige objects were folded into Germanic traditions. Scholars believe the vessel arrived through vast European trade networks, making it accessible only to elites. Its presence signals power, wealth, and far-reaching connections. More importantly, it forced researchers to reconsider other foreign artifacts previously dismissed as decorative. Some objects weren't just owned, they were transformed, given new meaning, and woven into deeply personal acts of remembrance. Number 4, the Gray Friars women. When the medieval church of Gray Friars was rediscovered in 2012 beneath a parking lot in Leicester, archaeologists expected familiar finds. They uncovered King Richard III, then assumed the surrounding graves would belong to monks. Instead, they found women. In 2013, 4 female burials appeared near the king. One elderly woman lay in an ornate lead coffin placed near the high altar, suggesting high status. 2 middle-aged women were buried in wooden coffins within the choir area, close to where Richard himself rested. A 4th woman was found in a pit nearby. None of them has been identified. Their presence is unusual. In English monastic cemeteries, male burials usually outnumber female ones by as much as 20 to 1. Why these women were placed so prominently remains unknown. Archaeologists believe more graves lie beneath surrounding buildings, but most cannot be excavated. The answers may still be there, sealed beneath the modern city, waiting quietly alongside the king. Number 3, the first leper. Long before medicine could name it, and long before fear turned it into exile, one human body carried the earliest physical signs of leprosy. Buried outside the walls of Balathal in India, this skeleton dates back to around 2000 BCE and holds the oldest confirmed evidence of the disease. The bones tell everything: eroded facial structures, collapsed nasal passages, hands frozen into claw-like shapes. Each mark is a diagnosis etched into time. What unsettles archaeologists most isn't just the illness itself, but the treatment. This individual was laid to rest far from the community, separated even in death. The bacteria responsible, Mycobacterium leprae, spread slowly along trade routes and human movement, traveling wherever people go. This skeleton doesn't represent a plague statistic. It represents a life lived in quiet suffering, abandoned before the world even understood what it feared. It is horrifying. What do you say? Number 2, the mummy inside the Buddha. What began as a routine restoration found something deeply unsettling. While preserving a seated Buddha statue, conservators detected echoes beneath layers of clay. Scans revealed bone. Inside the statue rested the mummified remains of a monk, frozen in eternal meditation. This practice, known as Sokushinbutsu, was an extreme path toward enlightenment. Over the years, monks consumed bark, seeds, and toxic herbs to strip the body of fat and moisture. Food vanished. The meditation deepened. Death came slowly, deliberately. If the body resisted decay, the monk was believed to have achieved spiritual perfection. Followers then encased the remains, often sealing them inside statues for worship. These were not viewed as corpses, but as living vessels of truth. Time, however, reshapes meaning. What once symbolized devotion now unsettles modern eyes. Inside that calm expression lies discipline so absolute, it crossed into self-erasure, leaving behind an object that blurs the line between reverence and something haunting. Number 1, sunken city of Pavlopetri. Pavlopetri never earned the fame of Atlantis, but it absolutely deserves it. Just off the southern coast of Greece, this submerged city has rested beneath the waves for nearly 3,000 years, preserved with eerie precision. Stone streets, courtyards, and intact water channels outline a civilization that understood planning, trade, and urban life far earlier than history once believed. This wasn't a city destroyed in a single violent catastrophe. Instead, earthquakes and rising seas slowly pulled it under year by year until silence replaced daily life. What makes Pavlopetri unsettling isn't just its age, it's its completeness. Through modern 3D mapping, archaeologists can virtually walk its streets, tracing paths once worn by real footsteps. There are no myths required here, just a functioning city that slipped quietly beneath the surface, leaving behind stone memories sealed by salt and time. Pavlopetri doesn't shout its story. It whispers it patiently through sand, tides, and forgotten walls. If you found this video interesting, be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks for joining us on this journey, and we'll see you in the next one.